Hello, my name is Kelly Johnson, and this is my King 4000 final. On slide 1, I did a slide about vocation, virtue, and authenticity and the definitions of each. The definition I found from the Cambridge English Dictionary on all of these was vocation is a type of work that you feel you are suited to doing and to which you should give all your time and energy, or the feeling that a type of work suits you in this way. For virtue, it's a good moral quality in a person or their general quality of being morally good. And then for authenticity, I did the quality of being real or true. So the first question was, what deep hunger in the world do you see yourself being able to meet due to your education and your natural gifts and talents? For myself, I see that I could meet the hunger of care, faith, and trustworthiness. I have a lot of care for my family, my friends, my coworkers, and myself. I also have faith in God and His plan for my life. I'm trustworthy in work, school, and family, and my friends' relationships. In my education, I find I'm willing to learn. I'm a visual learner, and I pay attention to detail. I'm always willing to try something or learn something new, and I'm often visually better at learning something, and I do best with hands-on. I often pay attention to the small things, that way I can improve it in myself. The quote that I found from the book that I really liked was, whether to seek advice and then whether to take the advice others offer can become an urgent question for those who are deciding what to do in life. Schwinn on page 359. For my third slide, the third question is, what problems or issues might you encounter as you go forth from King and try to pursue your vocational calling? So the 5 main things that I thought about whenever I think about a problem or issue that might occur was my self-doubt. I'm afraid that I might not feel like I'm good enough or I can do the job well enough. The lack of jobs is also a big thing. People might not be hiring. We're also in a pandemic, so it might be harder for people to afford to hire new teachers. Also, being unhappy in the career placement. My major is elementary education, so I could often be placed in a grade level or school that I'm not happy in, but that's just an issue that would come with any job. I'm also worried about gifts and talents maybe not being used. I think anybody would be worried about a gift or talent if they have and they want to use it in their job and it couldn't be used. That could be a problem that they encounter. And then financial instability. Finding a job that provides good financial stability is something that could be hard, especially with COVID happening and everything else. The quote that I found with this slide is, all people face pressures in a society that provides little support for intricacies of combining that generative activities of family with demands of work. That's Swin on page 272. On slide 5, I saw how might a focus on virtue, vocation, or authenticity help to counteract these problems. So for virtue, I think that you could counteract that with having a good attitude and, no matter what situation you're placed in, you're going to have a good virtue, so this will help you delegate your problems as they arise. With vocation, I think having the confidence to do the job, it can allow for room for you to grow, and being able to prove yourself in your vocation is often important to you and it can be important to others. For authenticity, I said being true to yourself and others can take your career a long way. Any obstacle that can come in your way will be something you can handle with being real and honest with others. Listen and explain 3 crucial or transformative experiences you've had during your college experience. How and why were these experiences transformative? How do they better equip you to change the world through your vocational calling? So the 3 that I really saw that stuck out to me were my Montana mission trip, my changing of my major, and the loss of my grandfather. So I think it's 2 summers ago, I went on a mission trip. It was my first one. I went to Montana to an Indian reservation. This mission trip actually allowed for me to get out of my comfort zone and see different areas outside of Virginia and Tennessee. This trip allowed for me to make new friends and new memories and to see how others live on a daily basis. The beginning of my sophomore year, I actually changed my major from nursing to teaching. The changing was a big decision for myself, and it wasn't because I didn't like my major or because I couldn't do it, but it was more so I was thinking about the future and thinking about the lifestyle I wanted for me and my future things to come, and I thought that teaching would be the best option for me. So the most recent thing that's happened, and I'd say the biggest part of a transformative experience I've had while in college, was losing my grandfather. Losing my grandfather was a big transformative experience during my college career because he was one of my biggest cheerleaders and supporters. He often always was there for me during my hardest times and hardest struggles at King, and no one can really prepare you for losing such a big support system like that in one person. The quote that I found, which is cut off, but in this country, for better or for worse, our sense of who we are and our sense of what we do for a living or plan to do for a living are deeply bound up with one another. And that's on Swin from page 182. So I asked Randall Gilmore at King University, he's one of my education majors. I asked him what he thought makes for a meaningful life. What additional questions I asked were, what advice did he have for me as a college graduate, and what mistakes did he make at my age, and how he learned from them. So living a meaningful life to me starts with intentionality. I want each day to count. I always almost begin the day with, Lord Jesus, have mercy on me, a miserable sinner. While that may sound like a negative, it reminds me that pride, arrogance, laziness, thoughtlessness, and lack of focus often stand in the way of my ability to reflect Christ to others. If I can live each day with intentionality and purpose, at the end of my days, I will produce meaning, not just for myself, but especially for others. Mistakes that I made in my early 20s are that I did not really know who I was or what my purpose was. I did not see everyone as a soul created in the image of God. So I did not honor each relationship with the wisdomness they deserved. I was often busy, but those activities were merely time fillers and not designed to bring others goodness. Correcting those mistakes, I think the sum of those mistakes has made me more reflective now, and while I certainly could have adjusted much sooner, it is those experiences and failures that now allows me to think more deeply, although without question, this process is not linear and I still make mistakes daily. That's a quote from Randall Gilmore. Second person I asked was my mom. She quoted and said that she thinks that living a meaningful life means you do what makes yourself happy. You always put yourself first in whatever you do, and you never let anyone tell you that you can't do something. Make yourself determined and ready to show the world your talents and gifts that God has given you. And for my last slide, living a meaningful life means to me, this quote was on my graduation cap in high school. It's by Walt Disney. All of our dreams can come true if we have the courage to pursue them. This quote is something I've always lived by. Living a meaningful life to me means taking risks, being courageous, and always believing there's a reason behind the good and bad. I think that my last 4 years at King, I realized how much I've really grown spiritually and emotionally. And graduating, it really makes you reflect on the things that you've been through and what you can change to make sure that you continue to live a meaningful life. So that's the end of my PowerPoint. Thank you.